少し疲れはあるというコメントではありますが、ジョーダンの動きはどうでしょうか。
Game 6 is between the Utah Jazz and your Chicago Bulls. Now, let's meet tonight's starting lineup. First, for the visiting Utah Jazz. At one forward, from Long Beach State, 6'7", Brian Russell. At the other forward, 6'9", from Louisiana Tech, Karl Malone. At center, 7'2", from Kansas, Greg Ostertag. One guard out of Gonzaga, 6'1", John Stockton. And the other guard from Iowa State, 6'4", Jeff Hornacek. The Utah Jazz are coached by Jerry Sloan.
As we mentioned at the start, Michael Jordan looking better, appears to feel better. For more on his physical condition coming off the bout with the flu, let's check in with the Dean, Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
Marv, with these reports, I feel like I should probably be the doctor, but reporting on Michael, he's back in rare form, took yesterday off, rested, was that shoot around today, giving guys a lot of stuff, and so he's back in rare form. He told me that the only thing he was worried about was maybe his rhythm might be a little off. So I suggested maybe have a piece of bad pizza and try to play sick. He said, bad idea, he'll play just the way he is. Marv?
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Michael usually dispensing with Ahmad's suggestions. Always a wise move.
I'm sure that's the last thing Michael wants to think about is pizza. Biggest adjustment that the Bulls made for Game 5 was taking the ball to the basket with Michael Jordan shooting 12 free throws and Scottie Pippen with 9. That's how they have to start Game 6.
For the Utah Jazz, they've got to take away Chicago's momentum. Chicago is absolutely marvelous in finals clinching situations. They've got to regain their confidence. That'll happen when Karl Malone takes the ball to the hoop and tears it down. John Stockton has to be huge. It all comes down to the battle of the boards. Utah wins that. They've got a great chance tonight, Marv.
Bill, Ahmad making reference to the pizza, the stomach virus that was suffered by Jordan, that at first it was thought might have been brought on by food poisoning, may have been a bad pizza. That had not been determined, but he is very much back here in good form this evening, and hearing it from the crowd. The officials, Joe Crawford, Bennett Salvatore, and Steve Javie. Longley and Greg Ostertag getting set to go on the opening tip. Ostertag coming off a very strong performance in game number 5. The Bulls with a 3-2 lead after snapping Utah's home win streak at 23 in a row. John Stockton controlling the opening tip, and game 6 is underway. Jeff Hornacek, who has not been shooting well, he's been playing hurt. They double up on Karl Malone. And rebounded by Scottie Pippen.
Good idea, but terrific defense. Rodman just bumping him with his chest, forcing the fadeaway.
Harper fires the three. And Osutag with the rebound and was pushed in the process. Foul committed by Longley.
Game 5, the big three for the Jazz. Very strong in the first half when they played beautiful basketball, but basically all of them disappeared down the stretch.
Once again, the Bulls are opening with Rodman against Malone. And the ball to Chicago.
And that time, Karl Malone not even battling for inside position, just willing to take that little shove from Dennis Rodman, pushing him out at 17 feet. If he catches there, he's got to turn, face, and think drive.
And as Bill mentioned at the start, Malone coming off a very disappointing game, particularly in the second half where he hit only 1 of 6 from the field. Shot clock is down to 4. Harper able to split his way through.
Well, Ron Harper started out the game with what I thought was a bad perimeter shot. Made up for it there. Shot clock winding down, challenging the rim.
Russell guarded by Jordan. Stockton being played by Harper. And Stockton lost the dribble.
A good adjustment by Dennis Rodman, who, as Karl Malone started to go away from the basket, your tendency and inclination will be to follow. Dennis Rodman ran very quickly, helping out on defense.
Stockton, 2 terrible turnovers to start this game. That's not the way you want this to happen. You got to get it big early.
Well, Hornacek and Pippen came together, and the foul on Hornacek. Jeff Hornacek has been bothered by recurring soreness in the right knee. He says it's just a little sore. He's had it iced down and said he's been bothered by the bruise from time to time. He's had 2 very poor shooting performances, though, last game, and then 2 games ago, 1 of 9. They double up on Pippen, who was able to recover and able to get the shot away. The air ball being handled by Ostertag.
Well, this is not a Utah team that will make any excuses no matter what happens. Stockton way out of his game early. But Ostertag he has the rhythm on the defensive boards.
And Jordan lost it. And both clubs off to the shaky start. Stockton able to go the length of the floor, and he's tied the game at 2.
Well, the key for both teams is when somebody turns the ball over or takes a bad shot, long rebound, make sure you convert like that. Get that fast break opportunity.
Longley was shot well throughout the series. Rejected by Ostertag. But Russell not able to hang on. He thought he took a pop from behind.
No reset of the shot clock. Pippen has to fire.
Shot clock was down 3. Oh, the recovery by Harper kept alive by Longley. And Stockton is on it. 3 minutes gone by, and the game tied at 2. Here's Russell for 3. Way off.
Chicago starting slowly, and Utah is not taking advantage of that, Matt.
Well, a couple of bad perimeter shots. John Stockton coming down, launching that 3-pointer on a fast break. He will do that from time to time. Doesn't call for that right now. You got to challenge the basket. Look to get to the free throw line.
Utah, 1 of their first 4. Chicago, 1 of 7 here at the start. Single coverage on Malone. Looking for the backdoor pass, but broken up beautifully by Longley. Longley unable to handle that pass, and he should have.
Well, good pass by Ron Harper, who is the sharpest player on the court early on.
Wanted to travel. They thought Russell took the extra step right in front of the Chicago bench. Hornacek fires and immediately looked over at Bennett Salvatore. He felt that he was fouled. Not much happening here at the start. Game is tied at 2. 4 minutes have been played. Rodman for 3.
That's the kind of shot that Phil Jackson just abhors. took him out of game 4 when Dennis was playing with that offensive theory.
Malone.
Another fadeaway.
Not only are these two clubs not hitting, but the shots have been way off. Now Jordan met by Stockton. Jordan yet to attempt the shot. Here it is. And Ostertag with the rebound.
Oh, both teams totally out of sync. Neither team can get anything going. They actually need a timeout to settle down and try to figure out what exactly they would like to do with their half-court offense.
Stockton with the beautiful move to beat Harper off the dribble, and Harper looking around saying, where is the help?
Well, it was a totally different angle on the pick and roll, and John Stockton executed it beautifully.
So the Bulls won for their first knock.
あとそのストックトに対するディフェンスというのも一つのポイントですね。
そうですね。得点
Chicago has been sluggish in the first quarter throughout. Normally Utah has been the sharper team, but today all they've got is 2 John Stockton layups to go with John's 2 turnovers.
Utah Jazz looking to tie the series, which would set up a 7th and final game here at the United Center on Sunday night. Pippen, yes. And the game is tied at 4.
Well, this is a strategy the Bulls have been going to quite a bit with the taller Scottie Pippen working against just 6'4" Jeff Hornacek. It has been up and down.
Malone with the outside shot, which has not been clicking.
It was that little double clutch, the hitch on the way up that took it out of his rhythm. Nobody can block that shot. Just go ahead and shoot it.
And here's Pippen again. This time, Scottie Pippen going glass, so the Bulls lead by 2.
Brian Russell took a lot of criticism from his coach, Jerry Sloan, for doubling down on Scottie Pippen on the key three-pointer by Jordan the other night. Last 2 posts up for Pippen, left one-on-one.
Shot clock at 6. Ostertag. And Pippen with the rebound. Scottie Pippen had a solid game the other night, although the numbers offensively do not necessarily show it. Longley spinning his way and rebounded by Russell.
Marv, when Jordan has the kind of game that he did in game 5, anybody else's numbers are going to seem irrelevant.
Pippen, the basket counts and the foul. So Karl Malone will go to the line, fouled by Luke Longley.
Well, Scottie Pippen, shot clock winding down, just backing in until he got comfortable and just turning and shooting right in his face. Coming down in transition once again, getting the size advantage over Hornacek, kissing nicely off the glass.
Talking about the Pippen numbers the other night, 5 of 17, but did a lot of other things. Take a look at the percentage of the Bulls offense. You look at Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen regular season, then on for the playoffs.
Generally that number 58% is a bit high, but when the rest of the team for Chicago is struggling horrendously like they've been, Michael and Scottie are going to shoot more often. Ouch. Karl Malone, draw iron please.
The game is tied at 6, and Brian Williams again has entered early. Luke Longley once again in early foul trouble, just picked up a second personal. Now Jordan trying to go to work on Russell, and he does.
Still pretty good defense by Brian Russell, thinking that Michael Jordan wants to penetrate and go to the basket. Backed off a little bit, going to see if he can make some perimeter shots. He got the first one.
You can't play him any better than he did. Jordan just too good.
Howard Eisley has come on, replacing John Stockton. Malone with the move to draw the foul. Karl Malone headed back to the line.
Now Michael thinking drive, but Brian Russell backing up, daring Michael to take that shot. And so far in this series, Brian Russell has had a number of facials with that jump shot, but you'd rather see Michael make them from the perimeter before he gets some dunks at the basket.
Brian Williams called on the foul. Here's Malone, who barely caught a piece of the rim on the first attempt.
Karl Malone at the free throw line. In the postseason, the wins, he gets to the line a lot and makes them. In the losses, a lot fewer attempts and can't seem to find the range.
Well, anytime so far in this first quarter, Utah has run a pick and roll type of play, they have got a good looking shot. Everything else has looked very poor. They should stay with that pick and roll.
As we come up on 5 minutes remaining in this first quarter, The score is tied at 8. Pippen had it knocked away by Malone.
Karl Malone, first team All-NBA defense as well as the MVP. His best play of the day.
Hornacek with the open shot. That's his first field goal. The Jazz 10 and the Bulls 8.
Hornacek can be a valuable offensive contributor if Malone has a huge game and draws multiple defenders.
And the foul, a hold on Malone. That is his first.
On the pick and roll for Chicago with Rodman, Karl jumps right out and pops it away. That led to a little triangle offense for themselves. Utah and Hornacek, that shot will go down virtually every time.
And here's Jordan. Yes. And you can see Michael Jordan looking sharp here in the early going. Not appearing to force shots. He's attempted only 3, and 2 of 3. Hopper on that foul. And then Isley and Williams had words. And Steve Javie may have called a technical.
It was a totally unnecessary play by Brian Williams. The ball had been whistled dead. Isley's penetration. And after he stopped, Brian Williams came over and put a forearm right into the neck and head of Howard Isley.
Well, Howard Isley has been such a key player. Oh, yeah. Well, it looked like Howard Isley anticipated some kind of physical contact, which he got. He had his arm up as well. So a technical foul on Brian Williams. Howard Isley has been so effective in his first stint off the bench, which is usually halfway through the first quarter. In fact, in Game 5, he engineered a 14-1 Utah Jazz run.
It's the Jazz 11 and the Bulls 10. 4:20 remaining in this opening quarter. Marv Albert with Matt Dukas, Bill Walton, Bob Rashad, Jim Gray. Isley with a nice move and then pops it back out. Here's Russell for 3. Yes. Ryan Russell has hurt the Bulls from the perimeter. He's been hurting it with the shot from downtown. The Jazz up now by 4.
He'll get a lot of those shots, Mark. He cannot ever hesitate.
Williams with the step and a facial.
Well, when you're guarding Brian Williams, you think of him as a left-hander, but he has developed a good move going to his right and has had a number of them in this series.
And Brian playing at a higher level of intensity than any front court player tonight.
Isley was way off and it led to the loose ball foul. It's against the Bulls.
Well, Brian Williams actually turning, facing on Ostertag, had his head down. Tough to make a move like that, but Brian Williams is just so much quicker than Greg Ostertag, even though his fundamentals weren't correct, able to beat him with quickness.
But Ostertag doesn't seem to flex his knees when he plays defense. He stands there and waits and then tries to react rather than anticipate and dream about what the offensive player is going to do.
Foul on Williams. That is his second. Number 5. On Chicago, 15 foul on the Bulls. So Ostertag on the line.
Javie trying to calm Brian Williams down. Just play your game. Forget about the rest. Forget about the other team.
Dennis Rodman knows all about Steve Javie and Joe Crawford. He has had his problems in the past. So far, Dennis Rodman keeping his head in the game.
Dennis Rodman coming off a very emotional interview earlier on the Showtime portion of our telecast in a sit-down with Jim Gray, and Rodman fined a record $50,000, as you know, by the NBA yesterday for those derogatory comments he made about Mormons just a couple of days ago in Salt Lake City. Here's Pippen. Some concern here in Chicago that he might have been suspended.
Well, Jim has a way of making people cry.
Oh, I see. A 3 for Hornacek. And the Jazz up by the score of 18-12. I think we'll learn more about the Rodman situation. NBA Commissioner David Stern will be the guest on the Prudential halftime report. Pippen. Scottie Pippen going to the left hand, rebuffed and fouled. Hit by Ostertag. 2:49 remaining. First quarter.
Jeff, though, has been up and down here. Very strong in the first 2 games when he was guarding Michael Jordan. Then they switched him off to Scottie Pippen, and you see game 3 and game 5, not good at all. Jeff, again, playing with a very sore knee.
But Bill, he says the sorer the knee, the better he shoots. And for some reason, I don't know if he's trying to convince himself or not.
You said that last game, too, about when you feel sick, you play better. I never felt that. I like to feel golden out there.
Well, Hornacek, 2 of 11 in game 5, and then 2 games back, the 1 for 9. So he may be trying to psych himself up in that department.
And don't forget, he's being guarded by Michael Jordan, one of the best defenders ever. And when Michael really wants to put the clamps on you, he certainly can.
18-14, Utah with the lead. 2:40 to go in this first quarter.
A lot of dribbling.
Isley, though, able to penetrate off the dribble, and it's a 6-point Jazz lead.
Well, Ron Harper just having all kinds of problems with Howard Isley. The only time Harper got bailed out was when Isley took a bad jump shot.
Michael Jordan off the fake.
Generally, Michael will try to draw the foul in that situation, and he had Hornacek out to drive.
Jordan now 2 of 4 in this first quarter. Hornacek off the double team, lost it. Malone with the recovery. And the shot clock very much alive. It's now at 8. Russell for 3. Good box out by Rodman.
Chicago has kept Utah from getting to the offensive glass. They have dominated the boards in this first quarter.
1:45 to go in the first. Brian Williams, who again came out early for the foul play. Luke Longley. Shot clock at 5. Down at 2. Jordan fires. Rodman trying to save the rebound, but could not.
Just not a good possession at all for the Chicago Bulls, not running any kind of offense, just putting the ball in the hands of Michael Jordan, who, when he catches right now, is hesitating, very tentative, instead of either making another pass or make his move much quicker.
Hornacek cutting baseline, and Isley went the other way to Ostertag. Williams with the rebound. We're approaching 1 minute left in the first quarter. The Jazz up by 6. Williams setting the pick. Here's Pippen, and he drew the foul. So Scottie Pippen back to the free throw line. A reminder, you can join our own NBA on NBC analyst Steve Cyber Snapper Jones. That, incidentally, a reenactment. And where's his tie? Online analysis on NBCSports.com. And Steve answering any questions you might have about tonight's game or the series in general while providing post-game commentary. Plus, after the game, you can listen in to the post-game press conferences via AudioNet. That's live online, all on NBCSports.com during the NBA Finals.
I'm really surprised at the way the Bulls have come out this first quarter with not attacking the basket. That time, Scottie Pippen was able to get there off a good pick from Brian Williams. But so far in the first quarter, Chicago Bulls settling for too many perimeter shots.
But they look like they're waiting for Michael Jordan to win it for them. But hey, they should realize that Michael's going to be a little bit tired, as you pointed out. They've got to step up. Their role players can play well here at home.
They also knew that Jordan was exhausted back in game 4. This was prior to the flu symptoms. Could be looking to conserve energy for the second half. Dennis Rodman is called for the foul as first.
Marvin, practice today for Utah, a very interesting thing happened. Jerry Sloan fed up with the team. They seemed really flat. After 15 or 20 minutes of the shoot around, he just stormed off the court and said, I've had it. I'm done with you guys. Then he went back and told the media that, hey, I'm not going to get down on my hands and knees and beg these guys to play. They got to come out and want it themselves. Another psychological ploy, trying to get the spirit back for the Jazz.
I think Jerry was so concerned at the performance of Utah in game 2 when he felt they didn't compete, they weren't into it. I think he wants to make sure here on this floor that he did something to spark them.
Now to 50 seconds remaining in this first quarter. The Jazz 21 and the Bulls 16. Steve Kerr has checked in for the first time. Tony Kukoc on the floor. You saw Michael Jordan getting a rest here in the final stages of this first quarter. Clock at 7. Kukoc, who played a major role the other night, was pushed. Foul is called on Foster, who also just checked in.
Well, Greg Foster, it's a good matchup, Utah. Most teams have a horrible time trying to find somebody that can guard Toni Kukoc. Greg Foster can do it. He just had bad footwork, allowing Kukoc to come left across the middle, force him baseline.
What a break, especially since Toni Kukoc has been unable to dribble and make any kind of penetration. He has become almost exclusively a three-point shooter, and with only 4 seconds on the shot clock, a very poor foul.
And now Jason Caffey replaces Dennis Rodman. Rodman with 3 rebounds. There's Antoine Carr coming on. Karl Malone with just 4 points, only 1 of 4 from the field. Toni Kukoc, who did a good job in game number 5. 9 points off the bench. Had that critical back tap to set up the 3-point shot by Michael Jordan.
And Toni was huge on the offensive glass, which drew the ire of Jerry Sloan. He said, there's no way that we can win this championship if we're going to let Toni Kukoc dominate the offensive glass.
Jazz up 21-17. Carr. Oh, Antoine Carr with a nice turnaround move down to 8 seconds in the quarter. Pippen checking the clock, puts moves on, got the step. Rebound Hornacek, and time runs out in this first quarter. So a strong start by the Utah Jazz here in Chicago after 1. They are up by 6 points. 1 quarter in the books in game 6 of this best of 7 NBA Finals series. You are watching the NBA on NBC. See Scottie Pippen. 2 of 5 for 8 points. Karl Malone only 4 points, and John Stockton with 4. And a foul is called. Foul on Russell. Let's check it with Jim Gray. Jim?
Thank you, Marv. Just following up on Bill's story, when Jerry Sloan walked out of practice this morning, spoke to Karl Malone. He said he guaranteed me that he and his teammates would not be making any token appearances tonight. They fully expect to win. Said he was glad that he walked out because he didn't need anything said to him. He said, if you're not ready for this game, you better get into another business. But there is one thing that's interesting to point out, Marv. The Utah Jazz have only won 17 road playoff games in the past 14 years. Compare that to Houston in 1995. They won 9 in that playoff series. Marv?
All right, thanks, Jim. Well, numbers are always intriguing until those streaks are stopped. I don't know if you can put those numbers on this Utah team.
And what happened last year, 5 years, 10 years ago, has absolutely nothing to do with the Brian Russells, the Greg Fosters, the Howard Isleys of the Utah Jazz. Means nothing.
Shandon Anderson not able to hit. Jim should not take this personally.
But the numbers for Karl Malone are not encouraging. A 1-for-4 start. When you have a disappointing game, maybe the biggest game of your life, game 5 in Utah, the whole scene set for you to dominate, and it doesn't happen. You got to come out the next night and throw it down. Game 5, first half, Karl Malone. Very good, 13 points, 3 rebounds. Second half, just 6 shot attempts, only 1 of them made, and that was a layup.
Shandon Anderson made his return in game 5. He had missed the 2 previous, remaining with his family in Atlanta following the death of his father. Played just briefly in game 5. Jerry Sloan looking to get him back into the rotation. He's been a very important player for the Jazz. Antoine Carr picked up the foul. That's his first. Judd Bushler has checked in for the first time, as has Chris Morris. Now, Chris Morris really hurt the Bulls in Salt Lake City in game 5. 3 3-pointers by Morris. Jordan posting up on Anderson.
Finally, a Utah Jazz defender didn't go for a head fake on Michael.
But a very slow start by the Bulls. They are trailing 25-18. Anderson had the step but could not convert. Remember, in the first half, in game number 5, the Bulls were down by as many as 16 points. Kukoc.
And that's when Michael Jordan got it going, scoring 17 points in that that second quarter.
But the Jazz have done a good job of taking the crowd out. This is the strongest crowd we've seen in the finals here at home for Chicago. Now they're sitting down.
And a holding foul on Steve Kerr.
Well, the normal procedure for the Bulls is to try to force that pick and roll down, try to force John Stockton to the baseline. However, when Steve Kerr is guarding Stockton, he mixes it up. That's got to be very tough for your weak side defenders.
Carr, air ball fielded by Jordan. Minute and a half gone by in the second quarter. The Bulls in the midst of a drought. They have missed their last 6 shots. They're trailing by 7. Luke Longley trying to get it to Michael Jordan. Backcourt violation. Jordan had to make the play to prevent the fast break. Had Anderson picked it up.
Well, the collapsing defense of Utah has been terrific. Phil Jackson, normally so calm, so poised in these situations. Game 5 Friday night, he was up the whole game, yelling, screaming, directed the team.
All right, here's a three-point attempt by Morris. The Bulls only 6 of 21 shooting, 29% in this first half, and they've turned it over 5 times.
Stockton's so tough, bumping guys out of their cuts.
Oh, Longley had nowhere to go. And here comes Anderson, putting moves on Kerr, and he drew the foul. So Shandon Anderson is headed back to the line. Timeout called by Chicago.
この第2クォーター前半を終わる時のゲームの
Luke Longley tries to make a play at the hoop and confuse Luke to throw it into the backcourt, causing the violation there. And then fighting through a pick, playing a little bit of pinball with Steve Kerr, bumping him off his footsteps, his rhythm, and then Bushler comes back and says, quit picking on my guy. Stockton takes the hard forearm. And then Jim Gray reports from the Utah huddle that Sloan uncharacteristically in Stockton's face saying, push the ball, don't slow down, because normally Jerry does not say a word to Stockton or Karl Malone.
Chicago's triangle defense has been absolutely ugly, mainly because Utah's defense has been so aggressive. Chicago has to go to their spread the floor, get some driving lanes, get some good passing lanes.
The Bulls have gone over 6 minutes without a field goal, trailing 26-18. We are early in the second quarter. 2.5 minutes have gone by. Ryan Williams working his way on Antoine Carr. And it's all Jazz to the board.
That triangle offense just turns into one-on-one basketball. Very difficult to execute in playoff basketball.
Fusion on the state of the Jazz. Stockton settles him down, calls for his pick.
Finds the open Foster. Oh, way off.
Watch your face.
And Scottie Pippen.
Oh, terrific job by Brian Williams, who fumbled that rebound, but out of the corner of his eye, knew that Scottie Pippen released on the play, able to recover, and threw the ideal pass.
Bulls went 6 minutes and 52 seconds between field goals. Now trailing by 6. Kukoc went for the steal. He gambled, but could not come up with it. And Shandon Anderson has been a presence off the bench. He now has 5 points. The Jazz are up by 8.
But a little bit of tentative play by the reserves for Utah. Uncharacteristic, because they have been strong throughout the playoffs.
Michael Jordan adjusting the shot, and he drew the foul.
Well, a wild shot by Greg Foster, and just a good job by Brian Williams to follow that. Usually they're tough to catch. They usually hit you in the head. And a smart play by Pippen just to keep on going as Brian Williams gathered himself to make the play.
But isn't that why you coach them? To keep their hands above their shoulders, to anticipate the ball coming off wildly.
Foul was called on Anderson, putting Jordan at the line. A reminder, NBC Sports will continue its coverage of the 97th U.S. Open. That's tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, right here on NBC. British Open champ Tom Lehman moving into a 1-stroke lead, 4 strokes behind Tiger Woods, who has played his way back into contention with a round of 67 earlier today. Our coverage continues tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 in the West, right here on NBC. And the foul is called on Pippen. for Scottie Pippen, his first.
That was terrific execution by the Jazz. Shandon Anderson setting the hard pick on Brian Williams to get Karl Malone positioned in the paint. And when Karl Malone gets it like that and the pass is delivered, first of all, he should have made the shot, although Scottie Pippen came over to mess it up.
But Matt, the game is getting a lot more physical the last couple of times down. Karl Malone working his way into the paint. You see in the 2 wins, great conversion percentage. In the 3 losses, horrible on the jumper. 9 for 35. That will not get it done. The shot's not falling. Get back to the basket.
And Malone is just 2 of 5 at the line and missing badly. Utah 28, Chicago 22. Both clubs struggling in this first half. Here's Steve Kerr. Brian Williams lost it. Morris has a 3-on-2. Stockton finding Anderson. Malone. Rebounded by Williams.
Karl has no sense what the defense is, where it is. Pulling the trigger way too quick. But his defense is saving the team.
Bulls very fortunate to maintain position after it was knocked away from Williams. Shot clock is down to 5. Kukoc off the double. He thought he was fouled. Stockton running the floor. Bulls able to get back. Open opportunity for Anderson. And back comes Jordan. Here's Michael Jordan. So the Bulls are within 4, and the Jazz want to talk it over.
And it's not even a number situation. 3-on-3, but when the guy with the ball can do that, you don't necessarily need numbers, as Michael Jordan took it strong to the hoop. So far from the field, Michael, 3 out of 7.
And Michael has brought the crowd back into the game on their feet throughout the timeout. But Scottie and Michael are the only players contributing. They've got 19 of the Bulls' 24 points.
The Jazz only 2 of their last 12. This after a 7-minute drought that the Bulls went through. Not able to hit a field goal for nearly 7. 34-second buzzer went off. Phil Jackson of the Bulls claimed that shot should not have counted, but it does. Brian Russell with a 3.
The players have to adjust to what Matt was talking about. The refs aren't going to call anything. Michael's the only player that sensed that at this point.
Utah by 7. Jordan for 3. And rebounded by Morris. Chris Morris continues to play well. This time put the brakes on. Bad pass. And the steal and save by Kukoc.
Offensive foul on Scottie Pippen. Trying to free up Jordan in the back court with a little bit of a screen. Phil Jackson extremely upset with the lack of call here. And Scottie Pippen just pushed Brian Russell over.
And that's number 2 committed by Pippen. Stockton setting it up on Kerr. Trying to use the screen. Russell for 3. Yes. Beautiful setup. Malone came over to set that wide pick up high, and it freed up Brian Russell.
Are the athletic role players for Utah. Anderson, Chris Morris, and Brian Russell are playing terrific. Oh, that's a good block there. Tough call against Chris Morris.
Well, the foul on Morris.
Scottie Pippen coming down to double team. A good gamble there with the shot clock winding down, but Karl Malone delivering just on time to Russell. And then once again, Scottie Pippen rotating to the open man, leaving his man alone, as Brian Russell is almost too open.
Well, Scottie Pippen's playing the kind of defense that Brian Russell was playing early in the series. Gambling, trying to make every sort of steal.
Brian Russell, Chicago native. Spent his early years here in Chicago, then moved from California, began playing basketball at the age of 11. He's hit 3 of 5 now from three-point range. The Jazz up 34-26.
Well, that kind of gambling defense by Scottie Pippen, which was so important in the fourth quarter of Game 5, very effective because the Jazz didn't react, or able to convert those open shots.
Ryan Williams trying to draw the charge. Morris with a bad pass. Utah getting back. They double up on Pippen, who finds Kukoc. Took advantage of the mismatch against Stockton. So that's the first foul charge to Stockton.
Marv, what makes it so difficult to ever have a chance to beating the Chicago Bulls is how versatile they are. Besides Jordan and Pippen, you got Rodman and Kukoc and Brian Williams, all who are 6'9", 6'10", who can handle the ball, drive to the hoop. Kukoc playing a lot better in the finals here. You see it in the Eastern Finals against Miami, could not find the basket, but now pretty much there from three-point land, although his overall percentage is low.
At least in this ball game, Toni Kukoc is trying to do some things inside. Ran a little post up earlier. That time on the break, going to the basket. He just can't settle for the threes, despite the fact he is shooting them so well.
Just under 5 minutes remaining in the first half, and the Jazz leading 34-27. Malone got position and was fouled. That's number 3 on Brian Williams.
Brian Williams so frustrated. That's an outstanding pick by Shannon Anderson, and that's what sets up Karl Malone with that excellent position. But as strong as Karl Malone is, for years and years, he's been able to finish off that play with a score and a chance at a three-point play. I didn't think Brian Williams hit him hard enough to force the miss.
I sense a little bit of lack of confidence in Karl Malone, the way he's missing those easy shots around the basket now.
It's been like that throughout the whole series, with the exception of Game 3 for Karl Malone. This burden of carrying that MVP has been very tough. And in the 2 wins, you see what a difference. 30 points a game, the good shooting, especially from the free throw line. And when he struggles, the Jazz certainly do as well.
And Malone, a 76% free throw shooter during the regular season, is struggling at the line. He's 2 of 6 at the line tonight. Dennis Rodman, who just returned, able to collar his 4th rebound. So Utah up by 7 with just under 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Rodman being challenged by Malone to take that deep shot. Shot clock at 3. Here's Jordan putting moves on Malone and fouled. Well, Karl Malone went outside to defend on Michael Jordan and picked up a second foul.
You could just see the electricity in the arena light up as soon as the MVPs matched up for one of the few times this series, and Michael took him off the dribble. He just has, Jordan, an unbelievable sense of when the guy is off balance, and the MVP chant has started up here in Chicago.
And obviously Karl Malone very unhappy with that call by Steve Javie, with all the banging going on. He's going to say, are you going to call that? The hand is part of the ball, and normally you would get that call, but of course it's Michael Jordan shooting it in the United Center in Chicago.
Both teams are over the foul limit with lots of time remaining in the first half. Just 4 minutes and 15 seconds to go, and both teams have hit the 5 foul limit. Off-balance shot, and a bad one by Russell.
Shannon Anderson did not hold the screen, and that kept Brian Russell from getting open. What a pass, Jordan.
And Pippen is stripped. Last touch by Bushlow. Steve Javie went flying over the far side as he made the call.
What a recovery by John Stockton as Jordan made the play. It looked like Stockton was out of it as he tried to get in front of Michael Jordan. Didn't quit on it. Recovered enough to knock it out of the grasp of Scottie Pippen and hustle down the loose ball.
Bushler could have been called for a foul there. Javie said, forget about it. Just let him go. Utah ball in the bounds.
Malone, the off-balance shot. Karl Malone, 1 of 6 from the field. That was his second half total the other night in Salt Lake City. 1 of 6 from the field, 2 of 7 at the line. It has been a horrendous first half for Karl Malone. Now here's Jordan putting moves on Stockton, and way off as he tried to adjust. Let's check in with Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, Marv, after that last shot, Jerry Sloan walked down to the end of the bench here and he screamed to all his players, "What is he doing?" He, referring to Malone, didn't get any answers. Marv?
All right, Jim. Chicago actually in the midst of a 5-0 run, cut into a 10-point deficit, but John Stockton able to put an end to that run. Stockton has 6 points. The Jazz leading 36-29. 3:03 to go in this first half, and the Bulls take a timeout.
そしてオフェンスの糸口が見られないので、オフェンスの攻め方を変えてくる。
Karl Malone struggles. They had the picks go on. The roll was not happening. 2 for 7 from the line. Ouch.
Utah up by 7. How about Chicago with 29 points and just under 3 minutes remaining in the first half? Jordan for 3. Yes. Still tough to get a feel on the physical condition of Michael Jordan, who's coming off the flu, very queasy the other day. 4 of 10 from the field, 5 of 6 from the line. He has 14 points. And the follow by Malone. So Karl Malone with only his second field goal, and it's the Jazz by 6.
I think Michael has been conserving himself throughout the series, picking his spots. It's usually second quarter, fourth quarter where he turns it on.
Shot clock at 5. Pippen being bothered by Hornacek. Pippen had to release it. The shot clock rolling down to 1. Here's Stockton. And Kerr with a good job to stop the dribble. Hornacek trying to shake off Pippen. We're just under 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Here's the pick by Malone. Hornacek. And will it count? No. Joe Crawford said shot. The foul before the shot attempt is called on Scottie Pippen. A reminder coming up at halftime. The Prudential halftime report will bring you a comprehensive look at the history of women's basketball with the WNBA set to debut a week from tomorrow. Hannah Storm, Peter Vesey will be joined, as we mentioned, by NBA Commissioner David Stern to talk about that and other topics. And also we'll have an update on today's second round of the U.S. Open Golf Championship. It's all ahead on the Prudential halftime report. NBA Commissioner David Stern warming up for his little halftime session.
Well, even though Utah has the lead right now, a lot of the numbers in favor of Chicago, particularly on the glass, where Chicago leads by 5. Utah only has 2 offensive rebounds. And then at the free throw line, where Utah is just over 50%, where Chicago is really stroking it from the line and getting more attempts.
And you see the numbers: Utah 10 of 18, Chicago 13 of 16. Longley could have been called for the travel with that extra step, and it led to the turnover, but Anderson could not convert, and a foul. Longley going for the block, but instead he's picked up his 3rd personal.
Tony Kukoc got back on defense, and I thought he fouled Shannon Anderson on the play, as he felt so too, and was surprised that no whistle came and then quit on the play. You keep playing till the whistle blows. There's the hack by Tony Kukoc. Expected a whistle there, and everybody seemed to stop but Karl Malone.
It has been a very long first half for Luke Longley. And the same can be said of that man. Now 2 of 8 at the line.
You look at Karl Malone at home, huge numbers during the playoff and great shooting. Gets out on the road where the Jazz, as Jim Gray reported, have not been a successful franchise in the playoffs. And the numbers just aren't there, and they don't win when he doesn't have the big nights.
And in the second quarter at the line, Malone is now 1 for 6 in the second quarter. The Jazz 41 and the Bulls 32 as this first half winds down. Marv Albert, Matt Dukas, Bill Walton. Here's Jordan. Hornacek with the rebound, and Stockton pushes it down. Oh, now being played by Caffey. Foul. It was waved off. Basket will not count. Jason Caffey called for the personal. Chicago over the foul limit. So once again, Karl Malone heads to the free throw line.
Well, the Chicago Bulls finishing up this second quarter with a very small team. You got Scottie Pippen with 3 fouls, Luke Longley on the bench with 3 fouls as well. No shot blocking out on the floor for Chicago with the exception of Michael Jordan. Utah should be forcing inside, taking it to the rim.
Well, it's one of those situations, and obviously both you fellows have had experiences at the line. Not only is Malone missing, he's now 3 of 10. He is missing in every conceivable variety. He's coming up short, he's shooting strong, he's off the side of the rim.
That was the strong point of my game, Marv. The inconsistent free throw all over the place. But Karl, the way that the big guys are bodying him out of there on the low post, forget the outside pivots, to use an inside pivot, turn and face, create some space, and then find a little short jumper.
The Jazz by 10. It matches their biggest lead of the night. 45 seconds remaining in the first half. Jordan trying to put moves on Anderson. And then met by Hornacek providing help. Kukoc for 3. Tony Kukoc hitting from downtown, from deep in the corner. 42-35 the score. The Jazz with the lead.
Michael Jordan is so good. What a perfect pass after he was completely shut down. A thing of beauty to watch.
And for Kukoc, his first field goal. Malone from Stockton. John Stockton with the one-hop setup. Down to 12 seconds remaining in the half. The Jazz by 9. Jordan setting up for a final shot, directing traffic. Out of 3. Here's Jordan getting the step and hitting. 0.6 of a second remaining. Oh, Malone and Rodman bumping each other. Joe Crawford on the scene immediately, indicating at least one technical, and then checking it over. Let's see. Well, it's a double technical on Malone and Rodman.
Well, Karl Malone came into this final series saying he was not going to let Dennis Rodman get into his head. He was going to ignore him in every situation.
0.6 of a second remaining. They just walk it out as Karl Malone continues the discussion with Joe Crawford.
Well, as Michael Jordan taking that last shot of the half, Karl Malone, as he has been doing throughout the series, keeping Rodman on the board. But it looked like Rodman pulled at his shorts as that ball went through the basket, and finally he got the reaction from Karl Malone he's been trying to get all series long.
Michael Jordan with 12 of his 16 points in the second quarter. Karl Malone with 10 points, but not shooting well. The score at halftime, the Jazz 44, Bulls 37. Hannah and the halftime report in a moment.
その動きに注目をしましょう。
On 7-point Jazz lead, third quarter getting underway. Utah Jazz trying to become the 7th team in the history of NBA Finals play to come back from a 3-2 deficit. Hopper with the shot clock running down, had it deflected away. It will be Chicago maintaining possession. No one has ever done it, winning games 6 and 7 on the road. Several teams have won game 7 on the road. While the Chicago Bulls are hoping to wrap it up here tonight. And Michael Jordan cuts it to a 5-point Utah lead.
2 penetrations and the line of defense in the back for Utah. Ostertag just breaks down. His knees aren't flexed. His hands aren't up. He's too slow.
Stockton and Hornacek in the backcourt. Malone, Ostertag, Russell up front. Illegal defense is the call against Chicago. That is their first.
At the end of the first half, Karl Malone walking off the court, and there's Brian Williams, and neither one of them given an inch. The playoffs have begun.
A little testy, the extracurricular activity, following some technical fouls that were handed out late in that second quarter. Malone trying to work on Rodman. Stockton trying to change that shot. He had nowhere to go with it.
The height of the guards. Stockton's not going to be able to get that shot to go.
Another thing Phil Jackson had to be upset about in that first half, 10 uncharacteristic turnovers for the Bulls.
And back comes Stockton, met by Homburg. Malone from Stockton. Karl Malone with 12 points. The Jazz leading 46-39.
That's what Jerry Sloan was talking about at halftime. Push the ball at every opportunity. They have to get some easy baskets and not try to grind it out against the tough second half Chicago defense.
This is a Chicago team that went 39-2 here at home during the regular season. That's the best mark in the league. It counts in the foul. Scottie Pippen getting the friendly roll, and he's headed to the line.
Chicago has a great knack of attacking where the defense is weakest. That's Hornacek on Pippen. They just continue to roll him into the lane. Scottie too tall, too strong. More importantly, too skilled.
But it's an uncharacteristic place for Scottie Pippen. He usually is better when he just spontaneously goes in there or slashes in.
Nice play by Hornacek, and then Pippen got rejected. And look out. Whoa! Karl Malone trying to save it.
This is not something that you really like to see a lot. The wild play by Scottie. Great block. Ostertag's hands finally up. And then Karl Malone just keeps right on going. People bailing out wisely.
2 minutes have gone by in the third quarter. Utah with the ball up by 5. Pippen. Let's see, did he save it? No, he stepped out. Stepped out of bounds. And the ball back to the Jazz.
Well, that was absolutely horrible defense by the Chicago Bulls on that pick and roll situation as Dennis Rodman just way back, not ready to give any help at all on John Stockton.
No offensive rebounds in this game. There's only been one stick back for both teams in the entire game. And that was by Karl Malone for one of his 3 4-hand baskets.
Jordan on the box out of Hornacek. And as Jordan made the move, he took the hit. Michael went to the crossover. That's number 3 on Jeff Hornacek.
Well, that's a scary thing when you have Michael coming down. He had a little bump waiting there from Dennis Rodman, and then the crossover from time to time. That's when Michael might get underneath that basketball and really turn it over on the crossover, but he got the benefit of the whistle.
Nice ball movement to set it up for Pippen, but he fired one. It was way off. Longley lost it.
That's the kind of defense that Ostertag. Oh, Karl Malone strong on the run. And you see him, the Jazz finding some sort of rhythm. Karl Malone was struggling early, couldn't find the range on even the wide open shots. Then he goes to the fadeaway, which then he gets a pick and roll, steps back, finds the range on that jumper, and now he's had 2 very good offensive sequences on the right side of the court in the third.
In fact, Karl Malone has hit his last 3 shots, just 4 of 11, though, at the foul line. Well, things may be turning for Karl Malone.
I noticed that Karl on the first free throw usually hangs in there, stays with his shot, follows through. It's on the second one when he starts to back up as he releases the shot, and he's got some bad bounces that way.
Malone hitting on both. It's the Jazz 48 and the Bulls 41. Hopper and Jordan at the guards. Rodman with Pippen and Longley up front. Pippen 3. And Ostertag able to get to the rebound.
Terrible.
Oh, the steal. And here's Jordan trying to put the move on Ostertag, and a foul is called. Foul committed by Russell.
Now, Scottie Pippen took a horrible 3 a couple of minutes ago from the left corner, forced one here, but then saw this one coming all the way like a free safety in football, and then all Ostertag can do is grab on and hold Michael Jordan.
Never outlet cross court. Make the short one to the near side of the field.
Now Jordan posting up and finishes with the fadeaway. So Michael Jordan has 20, and he's picked it up from the second quarter on. It is a 5-point Utah lead.
Karl Malone also getting better. What separates Jordan is great defense, Scottie Pippen, and here comes Jordan.
Jordan putting moves on Stockton. Jordan putting moves on Hornacek and going the distance. The Utah lead official. Steve Javie indicating foul number 4 on Luke Longley.
Michael Jordan working in the post now, getting into the lane, surrounded by 3 Utah Jazz players, but able to hang in the air and fade. And Karl Malone thought he was fouled by Pippen, was arguing with the official all the way back, did not help in transition defense, and that left Michael all alone with Hornacek.
Jordan just moves so much better than everybody else. The way Dr. J did, the way Elgin Baylor did.
Reaching in, trying to knock it away, but called for the foul. That's the second committed by Rodman.
Well, Dennis Rodman has had his problems guarding Malone in the post in the first half. Second half's much improved. Didn't get away with one there.
But Karl cannot let guys reach over his back when he's trying to receive down deep.
The Jazz have led by as many as 10. They've had that 10-point lead on a couple of occasions. Beautiful backdoor feed. Malone finding Stockton.
It's like automatic. Once a game, that they get that little give-and-go cut for John Stockton. You can bank it.
8 points for Stockton. But for John, only 3 assists to this point. Rodman.
Terrible shot. Jordan wide open. He's hot. And you're going to go away from him. Why?
Hornacek. Yes. Jeff Hornacek at the foot on the line. It's a 2-pointer. The Jazz up by 7. And the Bulls take a timeout with 7:13 left in the third quarter. It's the Jazz 52, the Bulls 45.
2連勝
Normally when the ball goes into the post, there's some kind of splitting action for the guards, but inadvertently Brian Williams is going to set a screen on his own man, Ron Harper, for John Stockton, cutting through the lane and to the hoop. And what Brian Williams should be doing there, guarding Ostertag, is just planted in the lane, trying to play traffic cop, just banging anybody, but poor play by Brian Williams.
Well, John Stockton never stops moving. One thing good for the Utah Jazz, though, is that Karl Malone has worked his way back in. Post-ups here tonight. 15. What's killing the Bulls, though, is that only Scotty and Michael are playing.
And Karl Malone beginning to show some signs here in the third quarter. Scottie Pippen able to slither his way in off the box out, and with a foul, it is on John Stockton. Reminder, NBC Sports will continue its coverage of the 97th U.S. Open. That's tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 in the West, right here on NBC. The British Open champion Tom Lehman with a 1-stroke lead, but 4 strokes behind. A fellow by the name of Tiger Woods, who has played his way back into contention with a round of 67 today. Our coverage continues tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, right here on NBC. Just under 7 minutes to go in the third quarter, and it's the Jazz by 5.
Mark, Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan have over 75% of the offense for Chicago. Rodman has 0 offensive rebounds, just 7 for the entire series so far for Rodman. Last year in Seattle, he had 41 offense.
Oh, what a beautiful play by Dennis Rodman, a drawback foul. Offensive foul on John Stockton.
Well, Utah has had trouble with the pick and roll up here, and this is where Dennis Rodman plays it best. He actually made the little bump and the flop back. John Stockton agrees with me.
How can John Stockton knock Dennis Rodman down? Dennis Rodman's in there battling with Karl Malone.
Well, for Stockton, it's number 3. Here's Jordan putting moves on Russell. Resetting, firing. Rebounded by Ostertag.
Well, one thing Chicago could do, give the ball to Brian Williams up around the top of the key elbows area. He can beat Ostertag off the dribble. He may not score, but it might enable Dennis Rodman to get his first offensive rebound or somebody else.
Stockton, nicely done. Off the fake, John Stockton. He has 10 points.
And it's all one-on-one for Chicago. It's Michael making his move, Scotty doing his, and everybody else standing there watching.
Utah by 7. The Bulls have missed their last 5 shots. And some sloppy pass work. Jordan, yes! He thought he was fouled.
How is that not a foul? Ostertag hammering down.
The Jazz by 5. 5.5 remaining. conversation with Bennett Salvatore. That's 3 on Dennis.
Terrific pass by Dennis Rodman as Michael Jordan had to hang in the air those extra couple of seconds as only he can, knowing he's in trouble with the 7'2" shot blocker, but he was just able to outlast Ostertag.
And apparently they changed the foul call. It was not Rodman. Now they say Harper. So Harper is called for his 3rd foul, and a substitution for the Bulls. Randy Brown is checked in for the first time with Howard Eisley coming on for John Stockton. A lot of whistles here in the 3rd quarter. Again, the call against Chicago. It's number 4 on Scottie Pippen.
Michael Jordan controlling everything here for Chicago. 50% shooting, the rest of the team ice cold. Michael with 50% of the points as well. I'm wondering if Dennis Rodman had thrown his arms in the air like Michael did. I bet Dennis would have got a technical foul there, which would have been his 2nd for the ejection.
And that foul by Pippen puts the Bulls over the foul limit. Ryan Russell at the line for the first time. He has 10 points.
I remember last year in Game 5 of the finals in Seattle, on about the 3rd play of the game, Dennis Rodman just running back up the floor, just kind of raised his eyebrows at referee Joe Crawford and got a technical foul.
The Jazz up by 7. Utah has led by as many as 10. Here's Pippen. He got the step and foul. And it may be a flagrant. A hard foul offered up by Ostertag.
And these two have met before, Greg Ostertag and Scottie Pippen. As Scottie Pippen taking it to the basket. And that actually was a clean block. There may have been some contact along the way, but clearly Greg Ostertag got a good chunk of the ball, and it did not look like he was trying to take a hard foul on Scottie Pippen.
I don't think this is a flagrant foul, man. I think this is a decent block. They hit him in the head afterwards, but the history between these two guys that you were mentioning, where Scottie had leg whipped him a little bit and some underneath the basket activity, and then Ostertag with a very hard foul that led to technical fouls back in Utah.
I would think more from the precautionary point of view from the officials looking to stop what might happen. So they called the flagrant. Jordan got the step and held by Russell. And for Utah, that is team foul number 5. So the Bulls are also going to the line.
Chicago rediscovering what they found in Game 5 in Utah. Take the ball to the basket. When your offense is sluggish, the jump shots aren't going, drive to the goal, where you may either score, get an offensive rebound, or more importantly, do this, get to the foul line.
And Jordan is now 6 of 7 at the line.
Michael Jordan, when they win, 40 attempts in 3 games, terrific average, not getting to the line at all in the losses.
We were talking earlier about the dynamic duos in the history of the NBA. Well, the duo of Jordan and Pippen have accounted for 22 of the Bulls' last 25 points. It's a 4-point Jazz lead. Eisley is playing for Stockton. Hornacek with the shot clock running down, and a foul, pushing foul on Jordan. That's his 2nd.
Barb, I like the substitution of Randy Brown here. Steve Kerr has not been getting it done. Now Randy comes in, and Eisley has been playing so well that Phil Jackson thinking a little bit of defense here with Brown.
Well, Phil Jackson went to that in an earlier game in Utah, went with the defense, realizing that Eisley does a remarkable job for playing so few minutes, about 10 minutes a game, but when he comes in, rarely makes a mistake. Either he's been able to score or get the ball to the right people.
And Eisley has played so aggressively on the offensive end, and in those limited minutes, that's truly remarkable.
And Hornacek shot just under 90% at the line this season. As you mentioned earlier, Bill, one of the great free throw shooters in the history of the league. 6-point Utah lead. Jordan shaking off Russell, going to the reverse, rebounded by Williams. The Jazz 58 and the Bulls 54.
That's what I mean about the penetration right now. Brian Russell cannot keep Michael Jordan from getting to the basket.
Eisley, will it count? No. Foul before the shot attempt.
Even though this looks like a wild shot for some, I think everybody in the building expects it to go in. Michael hanging in the air, twisting, turning, spinning off the glass, but all eyes on Michael, enabling Brian Williams to get the offensive board.
You see how Ostertag was a little off balance. Get the middle of your chest in front of the guy. Don't come in with the side. It gives you no chance to use either arm for the block.
Randy Brown called for the foul to put Howard Isley at the line. 4:22 remaining in this third quarter. And the Jazz up by 5. Utah trying to tie the series, looking to extend to a 7th game here on Sunday night here at the United Center. And right here on NBC, the Bulls seeking to wrap it, looking for their 5th NBA title the last 7 years. Phil Jackson motioning, looking for some movement. Shot clock at 7. Jordan fires. Rebound Williams. Brian Williams rejected by Greg Ostertag. Rebound Rodman. And a foul against Utah.
Well, Dennis Rodman's first offensive rebound of the game, but a poor execution by the Chicago Bulls, taking way too much time to get the ball into the hands of Michael Jordan, who is right now having his way with Brian Russell.
And you may have seen some attempted chicanery. Scottie Pippen went to the free throw line knowing that it was Dennis Rodman who was fouled. And Rodman hits the first.
For Utah, though, to have Jordan shoot a wide open 3 and to give up a weak side offensive rebound is unacceptable. Karl Malone and Ostertag have to be dominant there. Rodman can't find the second.
So the Jazz up 60-55. Rodman is first point, but he has done a good job off the boards. He has 8 rebounds. They double up on Isley. Ostertag, nice pass. Karl Malone from Greg Ostertag, and the Jazz have a 7-point advantage.
They haven't been going to Karl, but he's been getting his numbers by running the floor and moving without the ball.
Isley over to help out on Jordan. And a 3-second violation.
Good ball movement for the Jazz. Karl at the high post here. Then it swings all the way around and then just slides right down the lane. Textbook basketball. Perfect execution in the half-court set.
At the other end of the floor, Howard Isley is not going to worry about Randy Brown at the offensive end. He'll be looking to help out on Jordan or Pippen.
Oh, Jordan scooped it up on the steal. The Bulls are hoping it gets the crowd going. The crowd has been quiet. They have not had much to cheer about. The level of play has not been at a high level.
Jordan just going for steals on every play
here. Utah by 5. Shot clock for 3. Hornacek. And the blocking foul is called out here. Looking for a charge on Hornacek, but it goes the other way. Foul on Rodman.
Well, Michael buzzing on defense right now, ready to dart in every passing lane, just swiping right by Brian Russell.
So 2:36 to go in the third. We'll be right back.
Keep him in the ball game the whole time, and the way the refs are calling it very close, that's a huge gamble for the Chicago Bulls because he's really playing well. They can't afford to lose him.
Normally the man he's playing is Brian Russell, who's not a driver as such. Jeff Hornacek realizes it, takes advantage to get in, and the reason that was called a block on Dennis Rodman, too far underneath the basket and too much contact.
Well, let's see how the Jazz play it now with Pippen remaining on the floor with the 4. Jeff Hornacek back at the line. He's 6 of 7 at the line.
Utah is not an isolation type of team where they try to go at somebody to get fouls on, other than if it's Karl Malone, where they're going to pound the ball inside. But every once in a while, whoever gets the ball, as Jeff Hornacek did there, should take the opportunity to try to drive by Scottie Pippen.
Brian Russell can get a foul on Scottie. Real key here in the third, though. Chicago has 8 offensive rebounds in the third quarter alone. You can't beat Chicago unless you take care of your defensive backboard.
The Utah Jazz have had the lead most of the way. They've led by as many as 10. And right now they're up by 7. A poor shooting third quarter. Bulls 7 of 20 from the field, and Kukoc lost it. Here comes Isley. Isley all the way. He had the 2-on-1, but elected to take the shot.
Poor spacing. 2-on-1. One defender back at the ball on the side and spread the court.
Just under 2 minutes remaining in the third. Pippen facing the double. Shot clock at 5. And Joe Crawford with the whistle indicating illegal defense on Utah.
The ball's coming down the middle of the court. When it's one defender back, you got to have the ball on the side. That makes the defender commit to the wing, and that allows you to pass the ball to the guy coming up the middle of the court.
These teams get so few fast breaks, they don't get enough practice at it. I've never seen teams just do not want to get out and run. Take advantage of those long rebounds and those steals as much as they should.
You played for Jack Ramsey. You know how to run the 2-on-1.
Only the first illegal defense that was called. It counts in the foul. So Pippen with the bucket, and he heads to the line. The foul committed by Hornacek, his 4th.
Now Hornacek in foul trouble. That'll bring Shandon Anderson. Terrific position this time by Scottie Pippen. The drop step and able to avoid any double team that was about to come down as Howard Isley continues to be the rover defensively. Not worried at all about Randy Brown as an offensive player.
Hornacek to the bench with 4, but as I'm watching Scottie play right now, a good time for a flop against him to try to pick up his 5th foul. Chicago comes with the press after the made free throw.
They go to the trap, and it succeeds. Oh, apparently a foul call. Looked like they came up with a steal, but Randy Brown reaching in, and it led to the whistle. Both teams have been over the limit for some time here in the third quarter. The Jazz, in fact, have hit on their last 11 free throws after a poor start at the line. That by virtue of the problems that Karl Malone was having at the line at the start. So Shandon Anderson, the rookie out of Georgia, will shoot a pair. He's 3 of 4 at the foul line. A minute 39 remaining in this third quarter. It's the Jazz up by 4. Anderson connecting on 1 of 2. Utah leading 65-60.
The pace of this game, you're going to wonder what Jackson and Sloan are going to do with their normal substitution. I think the guys can go the whole way. It's been a half-court game.
George with the step. And Morris on the rebound. Isley. Nice setup. Here's Russell for 3. So Brian Russell with 14 points. That's his 4th from downtown. That was deflected out by the Jazz. The Bulls with 21 on the shot clock.
That's what I mean about taking advantage of an opportunity. Michael Jordan Drope missed that layup and never could get back in transition. Howard Isley took good advantage of it, breaking the defense down, getting into the lane, and finding the open man in the left corner.
Judd Bushler has checked back in. What a ball game for Brian Russell. 4 of 6 from three-point land. And a reach-in foul. It's on Chris Morris, his 2nd.
It's so tough. Virtually, it's impossible to guard Jordan. Matt, you've seen most of his games. Which way would you send Jordan, right or left?
Well, it's so difficult. When the open floor, you try to make him go left. He's less effective. When he has the ball out on the wing, however, you can't give him baseline. He's too quick. He beats the defense to the basket. You have to force him to the middle and get help from that next defender.
And there is Scottie Pippen. Right now, Scottie sitting down, replaced by Judd Bushler. Sitting down with the 4 fouls. Utah up 68-61. Just under 1 minute remaining in the third quarter. Then a big bounce back performance by the Jazz after the loss at home. Oh, what a shot by Isley.
Randy Brown played him perfectly. Isley, outstanding player. A free agent like a lot of these Utah Jazz are.
Utah by 9. Smar's got a piece of it. Jordan way off after the fake. Bushler has to fire it and hits. That could be a huge shot. Since Jordan did not make contact with the rim, the 24-second clock was down to 1, and Bushler hit the 3. The Jazz now leading 70-64. We come up on 10 seconds left in the third quarter. Isley kept alive by Morris. That's the end of the third quarter. So it's the Utah Jazz 70, the Chicago Bulls 64. The Jazz trying to send it to a 7th and final game here on Sunday. We'll be back here in Chicago after these messages from your local station. You are watching the NBA on NBC.
176カ国に放送されていますこの NBA ファイナル。
Seeking to tie the series to send it to a 7th game on Sunday for the Utah Jazz, their first ever NBA Finals appearance. Illegal defense has been called for the second time on Chicago. John Stockton heads to the line as this fourth quarter gets underway. Let's check in with Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
All right, thanks, Marv. Phil Jackson did it last time out, trying to pump his team up, telling them they had no momentum. They had to really turn the intensity on for this last fourth quarter. Let's go down to Jim Gray.
All right, thanks, Ahmad. I asked the coaching staff during the last timeout, in practice or on the plane, did they talk about that big 16-point lead they gave up in the first half of Game 5? Coaching staff said, no, Jerry didn't want to talk about it. We don't play in reverse. We don't revisit things that are bad and try and replay them in our minds. Marv.
All right, thanks, Jim. Kickball has been called. A new 24 presented to the Jazz. It's Utah 71 and Chicago 64.
Well, fourth quarters are when the Chicago defense gets very serious, but it's going to be hard to do right now as Michael Jordan gets a breather to start the fourth.
Stockton being played by Kerr. Here's Malone over to set the pick. Stockton. Crowd looking for a traveling violation, but no question about the foul called on Steve Kerr.
You look at the big four tonight. Jordan huge as always. Scotty very good, but plagued by the foul trouble. Karl Malone working his way into it, and John Stockton now on the line just suckered Steve Kerr. Stockton has owned Steve Kerr in this series.
And for John Stockton, that's 2 of 2 at the line. Chicago Bull fans like to think back to Game 6 of the final series in '92 against Portland. Remember, the Bulls down 15 after 3 quarters, trailed 79-64, led by the bench, and then Michael Jordan came on for the finishing touches. They were able to win it. Pippen is fouled by Morris. So Scottie Pippen is back on the floor here at the start of the fourth quarter, playing with the 4 fouls as Michael Jordan continues to rest up. Well, don't miss sports history when the WNBA will make its debut. That'll be next Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern right here on NBC. 2 of the leading members of the gold medal winning Team USA at the 1996 Olympics will go head-to-head. Lisa Leslie and the Los Angeles Sparks facing Rebecca Lobo and the New York Liberty. That'll be the debut of the WNBA next Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern here on NBC. The Jazz 73 and the Bulls 66. Have gone by in this fourth quarter. And yes, well, tried to call for time, but did not get the call on the careless pass. So the Bulls get it back. Brian Williams setting it up on Karl Malone. Here's Kerr on a quick release. Steve Kerr with a 2-pointer. It's down to 5.
And Chicago is going to have to figure out how they want to play these pick and rolls. Steve Kerr has had all kinds of problems with John Stockton on this play.
Minute and a half gone by in the fourth. Anderson way off after the setup by Stockton. Pippen for three. Yes. Utah needs a timeout. The Bulls are within two, and Jerry Sloan will talk it over.
Well, the pick and roll is going to be the key play for Utah. And what Chicago has had success with in fourth quarters is having Scottie Pippen run at Stockton to get the ball out of his hands.
And here he comes again. The Jazz lead is down to 2. They've led by as many as 10. 2 minutes gone by in the fourth. Malone met by the double. Shot clock at 5. Stopped it. You saw Kerr try to draw that foul. The tip was missed and then rebounded by Williams. Utah wanted to travel. Here comes Kukoc. Kerr. Bushler. Williams. Played by Malone. Ryan Williams. Stripped by Malone. Kukoc retrieves. Shot clock at 3. Williams. Back for Kukoc. And rebounded by Anderson.
That's a typical Karl Malone defensive play, stripping the ball down low. Ryan Williams is aware of that and still laid it out for him to knock away.
MVP time for Karl Malone. No delivery, faking away once again. There's nobody guarding him. Get to the hoop, please.
Steve Kerr setting it up for Tony Kukoc. Here's the screen by Williams. Kerr for 3. Yes! The Chicago Bulls have taken the lead for the first time since the opening minute when they led 2-0. Anderson sets it up for Malone, and he was fouled.
And I don't think it's a case of the Utah Jazz going lightly now with Jordan on the bench. It's just some of the Bulls starting to step up right now. That was all set up by Tony Kukoc's penetration. First pass to Bushler, second pass to Kerr as Michael Jordan becoming a happy cheerleader.
How important are the second units? Chicago not playing well at all. Bushler comes out, strokes that big 3 at the end of the third, and now Kerr has found his rhythm. Kukoc.
But that's why Tony Kukoc is so important to this team when he is right. But he has not been physically right with that sore foot because he can create plays.
Malone has hit 4 of his last 5 at the line. And here comes Michael Jordan. The hand is for Jud Bushler.
The great play that he made at the end of the third quarter and the extra pass is why he's getting this kind of reaction.
Bulls with 10 unanswered points, capped off by the 3 by Steve Kerr. So Karl Malone converts 1 of 2, and he's tied the game at 74. 8.5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter.
I don't think Kukoc could guard Hornacek down there deep. The other way around, excuse me.
A Kerr for 3. And last touch by Williams. It will be Utah ball. The Bulls trailed by 9 in the opening minute of the fourth quarter. They began to pick it up late in the third. They trailed by as many as 10 in the first half. The game is tied at 74. Malone. Yes. Karl Malone got the roll. So Malone has picked it up in the second half. Now has 19, and Utah leads by 2.
Scottie Pippen gun shy to come down and double team Malone. He got hurt a couple of times in the first half and enables Malone to get in the lane.
Oh, Jordan had the step and then was stripped. It will be Chicago ball.
Karl Malone in the hoop. We've been chastising him for fading away. This time he rolls right in and gets the friendly bounce. Finally.
Jordan. Yes. And he's tied the game at 76. 31 points for Michael Jordan.
I don't think you can let Michael Jordan. Oh, what a pass.
Anderson blowing the stuff. He thought he was fouled.
And Jerry Sloan livid. There was no call.
Jordan being played now by Hornacek. Goes right at him. Beats him off the dribble. And then lost his balance. And the ball kicked out of bounds. The last touch by the Jazz.
Well, what would have been so important about that last play as Scottie Pippen got caught peeking at Karl Malone, his man back cut, and he blocked the shot from behind. It would have been Scottie Pippen's 5th foul. Here comes Pippen on Shannon Anderson from behind. All ball.
Jerry Sloan very upset. He was looking for the foul call, obviously.
が心配です。
Remaining on the floor, 12 on the shot clock. Scottie Pippen. And Utah looking for a tie-up. Joe Crawford saying, now discussing with Steve Javie, but calling the foul on Stockton. And that is number 4 on Stockton.
Breakdown defensively for Utah. You can't let a guy just set a screen and then walk in uncontested for a layup attempt.
And Michael Jordan sets that all up because on underneath out-of-bounds play, you are so worried about where Jordan is going. It creates opportunities for his teammates.
Both teams have 2 team fouls. Jordan on the pull-up. And rebounded by Russell. Well, they made a change on that foul. It's Hornacek, not Stockton. Here's Hornacek firing. Yes, a 3 for Jeff Hornacek, who now has 5 fouls. So Hornacek with 5 and Stockton with 3. And the Jazz up 79-76. And deflected out of bounds. Last touch by Russell. So it will be Chicago ball. Look at the foul rundown. 5 on Hornacek, 4 apiece on Longley, Pippen, and Williams. Jordan.
You can't just open up the floodgates.
Well, there's no shot blocker in there. The whole weak side defense had their back turned. As Michael has been thinking, take the ball to basket. You better have some help in there.
It is a 1-point Utah lead. 33 for Jordan. Anderson got the step. And Pippen had a kind of pullback, did not want to pick up number 5.
Mark, Matt pointed out earlier that Scottie's just chasing that ball all the time. So who's ever matched up with Scottie can get wide open.
Jordan. And Malone trying to keep it alive, knocked it out of bounds. So it will be Chicago maintaining possession.
Michael Jordan just able to overpower Shannon Anderson. Nothing Hornacek could do. He's playing with 5 personal fouls. Karl Malone, not a shot blocker, up high, had his back turned anyway.
The layup game was just called on the Jazz. 5:45 remaining in the 4th quarter. And the Jazz up by 3 points. And it knocked away. And again, last touch by Malone.
Multiple opportunities. Everything under the basket is going Chicago's way. Karl Malone frustrated. Jerry Sloan disappointed. Malone has got to take over this defensive backboard. Snatch some balls. Knock some shots down.
Kukoc, played by Hornacek, who has 5 fouls. Kukoc goes around Hornacek.
Oh, that's what Tony Kukoc can do. Have not seen it at all in the series till that play.
That's the matchup I was trying to get to, but I had it flip-flopped.
The Jazz by 1. Coming up on 5 minutes to go in the 4th.
Again, burning Scottie Pippen and Shannon Anderson cannot convert the layup.
That's the 2nd time he's blown the layup, and this time Jordan comes right back. Anderson thought he was fouled, no foul called, and the Bulls have taken a 1-point lead. Here's the trap on Stockton, and a foul, a holding foul. And the foul on Pippen, that's his 5th.
Scottie gambling, as Matt has been pointing out, and Shannon Anderson cannot get this layup. Should have taken it up strong side. There was nobody there to contest. Now, Jim Gray has been telling us that Utah has to come to the ball and not run away from it against the Chicago press.
What do you do with Pippen? You keep him on the floor here. 4 minutes, 40 seconds remaining. He looked over at the bench. Kukoc on the intercept. Scottie Pippen is playing with 5. He and Phil Jackson just had communication, in fact.
I think you got to leave him in right now. There's very little time left.
And the foul on Russell. Toni Kukoc emerging as a major factor. A very tough matchup for Utah.
Experienced players know how to play with 5 fouls. Scottie Pippen has basically been a rover anyway, has not had individual defense responsibilities, but obviously he has to be careful.
Both teams have 3 team fouls. Jordan, Russell had fallen down, but Jordan could not take advantage. Hornacek playing with the 5, racing it down. Played aggressively by Kerr. Russell for 3.
Never had a good look at it. Was looking to pass initially.
Well, Kukoc tried to avoid the charge. The officials check over. It's Chicago ball.
That brings a look of bewilderment to Jerry Sloan.
And Scottie Pippen just looked over here. I think he said, I got away with one there. I thought he slapped that ball out of bounds.
Just under 4 minutes remaining. 4th quarter. The Bulls hoping to wrap the series in this game number 6. The Jazz looking to extend to a 7th game. Jordan with the spin. Yes! And the Bulls lead by 3, 84-81. A whistle. Bennett Salvatore calling the foul. Let's see. May have been Rodman.
A moment ago, Scottie Pippen slapping that ball at half court. They did not call a foul, and then Jordan comes right back and drills that baseline jumper, unguardable.
And it was Rodman on the personal. That is his 4th. And the 4th team foul on Chicago. Utah has 3. Malone over Rodman. Yes. So Karl Malone with a big bucket as we come up on 3 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. The Bulls lead by 1.
Well, Karl is battling much harder for that low post position in this game than in last, and Rodman can't handle him inside.
But Karl can't get the defensive rebound.
However, Joe Crawford with the call against Utah. Michael Jordan was sent to the floor by Karl Malone. That's 3 on Malone. Timeout taken with 2:55 to go in the 4th.
第4クォーター
And Michael Jordan with 37 points on 14 of 32 shooting. Scottie Pippen with 23. Let's check in with Jim Gray.
All right, Marv, during that timeout, Jerry Sloan very encouraging to his guys. Said to Shandon Anderson with a smile, keep going there. If you got the layup, next time you'll make it. Looked at Brian Russell, said, you got an open shot, take it. He was laughing, smiling, and having a good time. Something rare in this instance. Marv?
All right, Jim, yes, the Jazz with several opportunities here in the last couple of minutes. Both teams with 3 conventional timeouts. They each have a 20. Russell deflects it out of bounds. 12 on the shot clock. 2 minutes and 42 seconds to go. In the 4th quarter, it is Chicago ball, and they lead by 1.
Chicago can get Kukoc in the paint when they want it.
Here's Jordan. Rodman's back tap handled by Stockton. Jazz with an opportunity to recapture the lead. Stockton using the screen. Sets it up for Hornacek. Jordan with the rebound. Jordan saw the opening and then gave it up to Kerr. Jordan. Yes. The Bulls 86 and the Jazz 83.
How you respond to pressure, that's going to determine this game. It's been Jordan huge so far. Now it's Karl Malone's time to battle the MVP.
Well, Hornacek had to save that pass from Malone. Here's Russell for three. An enormous shot by Brian Russell. He's 5 of 8 from downtown. He's tied the game at 86.
Terrific job by Jeff Hornacek just to get rid of the ball, get it out to Shannon Anderson, who doesn't want to shoot it, but got it to somebody who will.
A minute and a half left in the fourth. Pippen. Scottie Pippen on the follow. And the tip missed by Rodman. Gathered in by Stockton. Stockton checking with Jerry Sloan at the bench. 1:15 remaining. The Jazz desperately trying to stay alive to send it to a 7th and deciding game. Oh, not able to hit. We come up on 1 minute remaining in the fourth quarter. The game is tied at 86. Jordan with the step. Jordan not able to hit. He thought he was fouled. And it's Utah ball with 45 seconds to go in the fourth.
And finally a defensive rebound for Karl Malone. The shot clock's in their favor if they play it smart.
10 on the 24. Stockton getting the screen. Stockton with the pass, finding Anderson. A good miss on a reverse. And a timeout is called by Chicago.
But Jerry Sloan showing unbelievable confidence in the rookie Shannon Anderson, doing a good job defensively, having a nightmare at the offensive end.
第一戦のように劇的なその決勝シュートを決めるのか。
Let's check in with Ahmad over at the Chicago bench.
All right, Marv, no surprise. During that timeout, Michael Jordan kept saying over and over, give it to me, give it to me. So he will be isolated. Let's go down to Jim Gray.
All right, Ahmad. Well, Jerry Sloan was saying, don't run away from Michael. Stay with him this time. Whatever you do, stay with him. If you're picked off him, get right back to him. Marv?
All right, Jim, 25 seconds in regulation. Game tied at 86. 4-second differential between the 24-second clock and the game clock. It is Michael Jordan time. Scottie Pippen looking for Michael Jordan. Checks the clock. 5 on the 24. Here's Jordan. Did not have the shot. Kerr does. Steve Kerr. 5 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. The Jazz take a timeout.
もう一度そのスティーブ・カーのシュート、ジョーダンからのパス。
Told Michael Jordan in that huddle, as the Barbershop told us, if my man leads to double Stockton, I am stepping right into that shot, and Steve let it go with confidence.
Now the question is, how will the Jazz play it? You look for the best possible shot, you look for the 3, you look for the 2.
On the move, go with either Stockton, preferably on the move to set up Brian Russell or Shandon Anderson.
Well, Russell will inbound. He's been the hot man from three-point range. And they took the delay of game. They wanted to get a look at what Utah was about to do. 5 seconds remaining in regulation. The inbound. Pippen rolls it to Kukoc. And the Chicago Bulls have won their 5th championship in the last 7 years. Just 0.6 of a second remaining. It's a 4-point lead. There will. Now probably they'll say now it's over. The clock did run out. The Utah Jazz indicating that there still should have been 0.6 of a second remaining. But the indication is it is all over. The Bulls have won the title by defeating the Jazz 90-86. It is Bedlam here at the United Center. second straight championship, 5 in 7 years for the Utah Jazz. The conclusion to what has been a terrific season. A record of 64 and 18, a franchise record, but this is how it concluded for the Jazz.
Marv, the height of Tony Kukoc on the inbounds pass, he deflected that ball, and when it bounced, Scotty just dove for it, and then the finishing slam for Kukoc to cap it.
That was Shandon Anderson on the floor, not really a threat. Scottie Pippen looking to hang in the middle of the floor, so quick to it, and then having the wherewithal to knock it loose to Kukoc before he can get fouled.
And Phil Jackson, so calm, so at peace with himself. And then the triumphant fist in the air. And he starts whistling, the true sign of a coach.
And the Janet MVP here in Chicago, that directed to Michael Jordan, who finished as the runner-up in the regular season to Karl Malone. The celebration continues here at the United Center in Chicago.
Well, it was obviously Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen carrying the offensive load, but they desperately needed their supporting cast, not with any mammoth numbers or anything like that, but just key plays here and there. They got it from Judd Bushler. They got it from Tony Kukoc on that last defensive play. And did they ever get it from Steve Kerr on the game-winning field goal?
And then when it was all over,